Okay, so I guess we can start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hi guys, I am Cool. Welcome to join today's meeting. So tonight we will firstly talk about some recently frequently asked questions like the surrender button, the divine crow, the TW changes like the worries down and the recent lag issue. Also some map related questions about what the next main campaign will be, something like this. So if you want to talk with us or have any questions, just raise your hand one by one. And to ensure everyone has a chance to speak, so please limit yourself to 1 or 2 questions. Also, I am afraid that we may not be able to provide provide answers to all the questions because, sometimes we need to discuss with other teams. Anyway, if there are any questions that I cannot answer at this moment, I will record it and discuss them later with my team. And besides, my connection may not be very stable because you maybe know now it's my middle night, so I'm home, I'm using my own internet. So don't be surprised if I get disconnected. I will try to rejoin if that happens. And so now I think we can start.
Got it. So we had written down some questions that were asked before about surrender button, TW changes, divine crow, and map updates. And we just asked some people inside of Booming Tech to give us some answers to recently asked questions and what we thought would be maybe helping. So I can just read them out if you want me to, or then we can also write down some questions from your side in the end and get them to answer them sooner or later, I guess. Yeah. So surrender button. Classic question from our side, I guess, from the community side. Why is it not here? We were promised this. And what is the current status of development? The current status is it's a stage of debugging and testing internally because they are still hitting some problems. Why did it take so long, and why you didn't announce it about it? During the design process, we also found that this feature has brought some negative effects to the battlefield. For example, some people feel that they cannot longer win, but still have a chance, and they want to quickly trigger surrender conditions, which will lead to more negative combat behavior, causing this situation that could have been turned over and obnoxious to quickly become one-sided to their negative behavior. Therefore, we are all still exploring and trying to design, hoping to bring a positive effect with this. When do we expect this feature to be launched? There is currently no plan for the system to be officially launched. It will not be launched until at least the season 22. We will make more attempts to test it. How will it work, and what are the requirements to start a surrender? The direction we are currently consider is that the siege and stronghold battles and tutorial battles, when the number of attackers does not meet the needs for the frontline, morale will gradually decrease, ultimately leading to the conclusion closure of the frontline, corresponding to the siege battles and match battles. This effect will be triggered when the attacking side troops are too low to compare to the defending side. It is still in the design and debugging stage. Any questions here? So I'm not trying to read that much.
Sorry, just to go on that last part again, you're saying that it's going to be based on the number of units left. It's a morale system like the current TW one, but it's going to be based on units that are left alive.
Yeah, and then you offered a surrender button, I guess, that needs to be pressed by a certain amount of people.
So, for example, it'll be like, when you have 5% of your units left, just to pick a number out, that would then trigger a surrender vote option still? Or is it just once you get that 5%, it's just the game surrenders?
I will make sure it will be a vote, because in the end you need to decide if it's still playable, and sometimes some sieges will be death matches in the end, and that should be played and not an auto lose. That's common sense in my opinion.
Thank you.
So it should be a vote. But it's not standing there if it's a vote or not. We'll make sure that it is a vote.
Sorry, does it work for both sides?
For defending side, there should be no point for a surrender button right now. I can ask them to do so, but right now it's just if attackers winning fast, then they win, but losing
I don't see any point in defenders having it.
Yeah. Another question is, does the system also count for field battles? Because in field battles you don't have attackers and defenders. I know nobody plays field battles anymore, but still, is it? How do you want to do it there?
I will ask them this because I can't give you a clear answer to this, but it should be like normal sense that this is also available in like normal field battles where you can then decide on both sides if you want to surrender.
I guess in field battles, I used to have the option of just dropping every point, don't you? So it can instill quite quickly. It's not the biggest.
Also, no.
It's the idea that the surrender button will be available in ranked battles as well. Because I would say that's a mode where even if it looks shit, you can still make it work.
That will be something up to discuss, I guess. For right now, as I see it, it's just planned for normal sieges, and they will look into it because ranked will be something very emotional for most players, and there will be a lot of drama evolving around it. So they will firstly try to test this, I guess, with normal sieges. Any more questions?
Nope, I don't think so.
No.
We'll move on to DW changes, where most of us are a little bit curious, I guess, and there will be more questions. Why is DW open world currently so laggy, and how long does it need to be fixed? We have made a certain optimization to the territory war, big world server network. If there are similar situations in the future, just please contact us. Like the normal way, you can just ping us on War Console, and then we should answer this stuff really fast.
So the fastest way to reach you is pinging on War Console.
Yeah, for right now, for sure. Because also then you're not only pinging us, or one person, and it's not a DM because we are often getting flooded by DMs. So it's more better, like War Console is something we are curious to look in and keep an eye on.
So basically the people should do at Bruder Ritter and at somebody else, or just you?
Me or Coolio for right now. Yeah, in the past period of time, we have been subject of a certain degree of cyber attacks, especially during the territorial war. Fuck's sake! When someone maliciously launched a DDoS attack, we have taken corresponding measures and defenses. Can we expect to test new gameplay like Warriors Showdown before season launches? Made clear that this is not acceptable. Like, we need to test something like this, not to run it in the season like this. We understand that the generals are looking forward to more new gameplay, similar to Warriors vs. Warrior. Warriors vs. Warriors was decided to be launched in the middle of season against the backdrop of tight development resources. In the future, we will comprehensively consider factors such as development cycles and content priority, prioritizing continuous optimization based on existing gameplay, and consider creating new season gameplay when there is sufficient capacity. If you feel like you want to say something, just raise your hand or just make a quick sorry, and then we can answer it.
Guys, say something. My English not good. Come on.
Yeah, it's fine.
Come on, guys.
I'll say something. I did raise my hand, but I just didn't see it. But I mean, slight sidetrack on that. But with this Warriors game mode thing, 15-15 in the forts, is that planned to continue in the future? Is that planning? Because there's rumors going around it's going to be on every city in the future. It's going to just be that's going to be what Territory Wars becomes. Do we have any further information on that?
We already talked about this internally and also answered this before. They want to look in it and maybe consider to make it a right for houses to get. Like you can choose to defend with Warriors Showdown or Warriors Showdown 15 versus 15 in the future. That's something they aimed at. But right now we push them as far that they will look into all the feedback we will gather to this topic, and then we will come up with how they want to use it in the future, if they should use it in the future.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's something like, sorry, Star, I know you put your hand up. If it's something like you have like once per war, your alliance can trigger one of those fights or something that, or, you know, there's some kind of limitations to it. I think it could be interesting. But if it's, you know, I know there's a lot of people that have enjoyed it in some servers. I've heard from the eastern side they've massively enjoyed it, and then my concern is it's going to be put onto every single city, which then for me defeats the whole point of TW.
No, that's not the plan of TW. TW was created to be like a big showdown of a lot of people competing with each other. Yeah. So there will be no point making 15 versus 15 overall access in every city. It's more decreasing it. Right now it's limit testing for them. So I don't know on which who was first, but I would just Starburst, I guess it is, with the picture.
Yeah, I was just gonna share a similar concern to tempo shots, that how, because like from planning a lot of TWs this season, it's very hard to convince our alliance to do fort battles, because it's just something that we didn't sign up to do, right? Like tempo shot, and you said that T-War's always been a numbers game, and T-War has always been about making grand battles. And when these 50v15 forts came in, it kind of just took away the entire aspect of T-War. Or made it really hard to play the map, right? Like, I would say it's easier in Daicheng because there's just Gaoqiang, but in Anadolu there's four forts to play with, which could... It's just a lot of land. And, like, you need 120 people, 4 forts, and then you can attack Reggie if you really want to. So it's been... I've not been impressed by it, and I think it's a shame that we're maybe going towards that world where the 50v15 will maybe be the main way of playing T-War, because I think that's
for sure.
No, I'm just saying if we go there, that's not somewhere I want to go.
I think it's a valid concern. I've heard a lot of the eastern sort of servers have really enjoyed the 50v15, and that's my concern, because they obviously are the bigger market, so they're more likely to listen to their opinions over ours. And that's my concern.
But there can also be different changes for different regions in the end. If we like
servers, you mean?
Yeah, servers, sorry. So this is also something we pushed, like we can decide next main capital for the community where you can vote. And then you can decide what capital is the best right now because of the map changes and stuff, or the map bugs for the main capitals. So you can decide what would make the most sense for you, in your opinion. And therefore we have like something sorted out right there. They are reacting oftentimes, but they take a lot of time to react on stuff like this. Like, you know, and yeah. So, but it's not, the Booming Tech is not trying to aim at 15 versus 15 or making every house just with 30 house cap. That's just rumors, and that's not true at all. Okay, Monster Mango was the next one.
I didn't get the last part of the message you spoke about the developer of new TW parts. I think it was like the last 2 sentences from the message you.
And the my personal or the answer from the devs?
The answer from the devs, I think it was.
In the future, we will comprehensively consider factors such as development cycle and content prioritizing continuous optimizations based on existing gameplay, and consider creating new season gameplay when there is sufficient capacity. If you're not, my English is too bad, I will just copy paste the sentence for you.
That would be awesome, actually.
I was going to say, could we have a copy of the notes that you've been given?
We can't just post them because they will tweet around, and we will write down some questions from your side and make them bigger, and then we will announce it to the whole community, basically. Okay. So it can be shared and seen by everybody. It's meant to be like this. But for right now, that is just something fast made for you, and then you can look into it and also come up with other questions that we can maybe add to it and get them to answer.
Thanks. Honzaki, you've had your hand up for a while. Do you want to?
Yeah, and not only I, but my house and Alliance, we really enjoyed Warrior Showdown. For us, it's really we really enjoyed that type of gameplay. It was something new, something fresh, and for
Yeah, I've heard from people as well. There are people that enjoyed it. From my point of view, though, coming from sort of a main alliance side, the forts are just whoever builds more crows wins. Basically, that is literally what it comes down to. Which I was going to touch on when you speak about crows later, Ruda, but that is what we've seen in every single fort fight. It's just if one side just takes 3 crows each on every person, they're going to win the fort regardless of what you do.
I think there is a difference.
If they could limit the forts with, say, you put blue arty or changing the arty allowance that you have on there, maybe it can become a useful thing. But with crows at the moment, even war rockets, to be fair, are still broken in there as well. They just become kind of spammed more arty, which means kind of by proxy it becomes a pay-to-win aspect, because obviously you can buy artillery through the Sov store. And so a lot of people in my community and sort of the alliance I'm in just see it as a pay-to-win feature, because it's just whoever slams down more artillery.
Yeah, but that the part was mainly crow is pay-to-win. Right?
Yeah.
Like we are at the other side, like on the fort builder, and some of our guys also enjoyed it. But I think for overall, like we need to make a difference on each server. I think like on EU1 it's where we have like the big houses, like temples and mine. If every fief is defended by 50 people. Then we have like 20 thieves we can defend against somebody or attack, and then mass is a bit high, honestly. Like for small houses tend to have fun in there, so I think we need to make a difference from like is it EU1, is it EU2, or another server. And yeah, of course, I think we should like restrict the arty they can use.
Yeah, it's opinion based what people think about it, and that's good. I think Booming Tech just needs to listen to the players there and just needs to look in where it makes sense and where it could have his place, and then they maybe figure out a way that everybody can enjoy it if they want to use it. So, got it. Nobody wants to say something anymore, so I will just move on. Is there already a new feature planned? And if yes, could you tell us which? In the future versions, we will focus on creating a more layered 3-dimensional battlefield based on the familiar city defense system and the warrior battle gameplay. Around the attack and the defense battles of strongholds, we will extend more rules inside and outside of the battle. Design exclusive attack and defense system for strongholds of different levels and provide a more diverse combat experience. So that's a little bit of insight what is coming.
Basically,
If I'm understanding that right, you're saying different level cities are going to have different sort of rules for fights on there? Is that what that's saying?
It's basically saying if you're having a certain level on your city, there could be different aspects you can use in the end.
Makes sense. Thank you.
so like basically like for example, if the city is low level, then there might be a breach that can be open, and if you level it up, the wall may be reinforced like that.
Can't tell you more to this because it's only the message there, so they're just triggering, but that's something I would just think could be possible in the future, yeah.
Rida, can you paste your, what did you say, the chat? For the
I can do it, no problem.
No, you say what you say it, actually. You already said, because I can't understand when I hear clearly. I mean...
Just the message from the dev you want to see?
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the words are, I think, a little bit complicated for people that are not mainly speaking
And
English.
they're complicated for me.
Yeah.
It's auto translation from Chinese into English, and then the sentences of getting a little bit confusing, and also the words are like maybe should trigger DRE to be more like common English, peasant English for me.
Yeah, more user-friendly English.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Was there any question right now?
Yes. So I hope that doesn't mean in future there will be multiple lines for battle for specific siege, like on WT. Because in the past, like season 1 and before, there was a little different system. Basically, you can attack on multiple lines on cities and other.
No,
No.
that will be not the case, I guess.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so happy that they moved away from like 3 lines for fort, 2 lines for city, 1 line for village.
Please no.
Yeah, please don't.
It was a horrible system, really based on numbers.
I mean, that would be funny if you can attack like on 3 lines and you have like on EO2 with 30-man houses. You not have enough people for 1 city to defend.
There also on TEW in past you said that there will be like cross server. Any news about that?
Cross-server fights, I'm not aware of this information. For sure, I can write down and ask something like this.
Yeah, there was something like a global TW.
Yeah, it was said in the past, but we don't hear about it recently.
I don't think it's going to be happening that soon, because server lag is still something they are fighting again. Or like overall ping, you can often, like if you're playing in a normal lobby with NA and EU, there's also like big problems fighting each other in the end. Like if the person with 110 ping is running next to you, that's not the same showing for him than for you. And for Asia and Europe, it's even more difficult.
Yeah, I play on NATW sometimes, and yeah, I know they complain that I'm laggy, of course.
It's a whole different story. And if you watch, I guess for sure, if they come up with a new conclusion to it, I will update you on this. But I don't guess this will be possible soon. Okay, I will move on. So, what is the reason why we can't get food from the border forts anymore? We hope that the Alliance can compete in a fair environment for territory war. We believe that the rule of supplementing food and at border crossings will to some extent disturb the rhythm of the Alliance's gradually advancement and expansions, and may lead to rivetly small alliances in the border are being in an unfavorable competitive environment. In the future, we may continue to introduce more restrictive rules in the big world, making the ecosystem more diverse. Players do not have together in the big league, and each player group can find their own fun and gameplay. We'll just post it again because it's hard.
Matt, you got your hand up?
You. Matt?
So if you say this will, you say that this is making it more friendly and stuff. We have maps. We have on the map. We have cities, villages, and ports so wide outside that you cannot reach them with your food supply of 1 way from the capital to the city. In this way, it makes it more friendly. If I need to bring 30,000 food with me that I can refill my food once, but I cannot carry Artitan anymore. So the fight is unfair for the attacker, but better for the defender, because they have obviously their camp there. In which way makes this the game more friendly? That's the question.
I guess the point they are trying to make is that border forts are just something where when you pull food from, it's really bad because it's like free food supply for you, and they for sure need to come up with a new idea on how to supply a running attack, because right now it's really hard. I can agree with this for sure, and I guess they also can agree with it. to attack certain cities at certain points, for sure. But that's right now their position. Starburst?
Well, in the beginning of this season, I spoke with you, Reda, about the 3 points from the thread that I made. And I got like around 150 votes. And then in the end, I feel like it was quite ignored, the thread. And it clearly had no significant impact on the changes that happened to T-War and like CB as a whole. But in the end, personally, I don't give a shit about the border forts. I don't think they are super significant. But I think if the border forts have been changed to the way they are now, there should at least been a buff in another aspect to make food consumption and healing your units easier. And I think a clear solution that was mentioned in that thread was just make field camps better. Just make them make them build in the span of 2 minutes rather than 5 minutes, for example. Because everyone knows that it takes 5 minutes to run from your home points, capture X, and then run to the enemy's home point and capture their home point. That takes 5 minutes. So whenever you build a field camp, that field camp is doomed if somebody's there from the start to break it. And especially this season playing in Anadolu against an alliance that wants to field and break field camps and everything, it's impossible to attack locations like Asteronopolis because they just attack field camps and nobody wants to defend field camps because obviously people come to T-War to fucking play T-War, not to defend field camps. So I think if we just buff field camps to make them faster to build, then there's a small time frame to heal your units and get your character ready to join the battle again, rather than defending field camps with half healed units. But there should have been a buff somewhere else.
Got it. Monster Mango?
Yeah, I agree with Starburst. On the Navy, I fight a little bit in the Reginopolis region, and if you are there and you need to walk like a really long time and then need to wait for the field camp to build 5 minutes, it slows down the entire TW. TW is only like 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and if you need to wait like 5 minutes for field camp to build before the fun starts, for me it's boring. It's a time that can be used with much more exciting stuff. So like the food stuff that Starburst mentioned is really important for that region, or maybe you add a free city on the bottom there or something like that.
Got it. Temple? I can't hear you. Is it me?
No, I can't hear you either.
I guess shit happens to the best of us.
Sabotage him.
Sorry. Okay, I will. You will want to write it down quickly, or then I can. If it's just opinion based, then you can just write it down, and then I will just move on to the next thing, and then I will read through Temple first, and then we go to the questions, so we don't all wait now for Temple to fight against his keyboard. What are the plans for on the current still running features in TW? First, ask about the house lead buff on dev. So when the house leader is dying, I know all of you know what I mean by this. We believe that the Lord boost can encourage commanders and their lines to participate more actively in battles and serve as a leader and an example. Therefore, Lord's gain will still exist as a permanent mechanism in the future. In the future, we will further collect detailed feedback and adjust the gain effect appropriately. So if we think there should be changes on this, you can also make like posts about it and give maybe like insight from your side to the commander dev buff, and we can share it with the company for sure. How do you think this is currently going, or is it impacting you that much?
Test. Can you hear me now? I think mine's working again. Sorry to butt in there, guys. Yeah, I was just gonna say I like the system, but I think it needs some tweaking. Only having lieges, having the buff, is very poorly designed, in my opinion. If you could like allocate, maybe the seneschals, for example, you could allocate to them, because otherwise, if the liege isn't there, they've got to give somebody else the liege role for that one TW, and it's very awkward to rotate things. But otherwise, the buff itself is quite well planned, I think.
Got it. The question from before, do you want to say it or just?
It wasn't a question, just saying that the state of a lot of the more recent changes, just sort of summing it up, it feels like the game's heading in a more stale AFK gameplay with how some of these changes have come in. And like others said, we come to CW to fight and have these big organized fights. And obviously not everyone does. Some people do come just to get a free city and, chill on their land. But it definitely feels like the game is being pushed in a more stale direction at the moment.
Got it. Monster Mango? Oh, sorry.
I think Hansu was first.
Yeah, Hansu, but yeah, fine. We'll move on.
Okay. I like the house lead buff, and but yeah, I agree with Temple. It would be cool if you give it also like to some guys else, and I would also like add to it maybe like rework the role system in the house. I think a lot of houses are not like one leash and couple of seneschals doing one seneschal doing the work. It's like more spread now, and also with like tower building and stuff to have the noble and stuff like that. It would be really awesome if you can make a more customizable house management system.
I think this is asked by the community for a long time now, having just some more.
I had something similar in mind.
Go on. That's fine.
The roles should be like have a better system. Basically, they should have more purpose, because now they feel really lame. Only like good roles are seneschal and leader. That's like only good roles in house.
Yeah, fully understand the point. It's like house system is something, I guess there was like some ideas behind it and then they didn't follow through to the end. I don't know the English term for the guy who's like in charge of just the taxes inside of the house. That's like really dumb, in my opinion.
Treasurer.
Yeah, treasurer. Yeah, right. Starburst?
I'd just like to agree with the points that the role system in the game needs to be improved, because like there's just been T-Wars where we had like last T-War we didn't communicate well enough, and then I gave a person treasure to build field camps, and then somebody took away the treasure because that person doesn't usually have that role, and then we had no field camps for half the T-War. And I think, like we say, if we can customize the roles to be like, okay, nobles can build fuel camps and they can build trebs and towers and everything, and blah blah blah, and marshals can only do shot calling, da 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 da. Like, just giving more customization and using all the tools of the game will make it a lot easier to organize T-War, and it'll remove stress from leadership members, so we can just focus on playing the fucking video game instead of just handling this menu.
Got it. Anything else right now?
Just in general, or
No.
on this topic?
On this topic first, I will just go through with what we asked them and to this, and then we just open it up in the end a little bit, I guess, looking into how much time is left. Then, moving on. Going now to what is the currently running feature 15 versus 15. It's a Warriors Showdown. The Warriors duel or showdown gameplay will continue to be available in the next seasons, but not right now confirmed to which extent and how much. But we already agreed on, should be more looked into. Why did you decide to let the house lead buff on death inside of the game in the end? It's just a question of them telling us. The buff has already been answered, he says, with the encouraging people or encouraging the house leaders to actively play inside of TW. But yeah. Moving on to Divine Crow, also what do you have something left for TW? I guess just go on with TW. That's more likely to have more questions from your side, I guess.
I think just with T, where again, like we mentioned, just be more careful with implementing significant changes to the system. I think when it's a change like the leadership buff, it won't change the entire battlefield of territory war. When a change like the forts come in, I think they should be tested by more players than just the internal PTR team or however that system was tested, right? And I come from playing League of Legends, and when they make new changes, they start with the changes in PTR, and then they put them in preseason, and then they put them in the main season. And if you do that, you have as much time as possible to get community's inputs on, this big systematic change. And it won't hurt the current campaign that's happening, because this current campaign, like our Ghost Tex has mentioned in the War Council, he saved a bunch of reputation. They announced forts were going to be open, and then day before they go, nah, it's going to be disabled, we can't do it. And then they have a lot of reputation for no reason. And that's one way of ruining an alliance's season.
Yeah, for sure. Can just agree to this. I make sure to let them know and feel the pain of players having to organize their tactics over and over again, and made sure that the circle of new gameplay features will only be done inside of the off seasons, and if it's still buggy until the end of off season, we will just delay it for a season, so it's not launched in the middle of the season and we have to face. Even now, Warriors Showdown is really buggy and a lot of stuff is happening that shouldn't happen, so we can just say sorry to this right now.
I think good solution to that would be just make longer pre-season, 2-3 weeks.
Got it.
Rida, can you accept Berkay Ceylan name?
Who is this inside of War Council?
It's the Terokus. But
one of the leaders of Smurfs.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. That was your question? Or?
Topic was Divine Crow, yeah?
No, we will move on to it. No, yet. It's just TW.
Okay.
Because TW is most openly something with more questions behind it.
Yeah.
Temple?
Just the last question for me around TW, and you may be covering this point later, but it's do we have any news on EU1 and sort of the 30-man house limit and what's going to happen in the future? Because there's been rumors of EU1 being moved to 30-man house limit as well.
I already talked about this. There should be no point for Booming Tech to make house caps lower inside of EU1. For now, they have certain servers they are releasing, and that's beginning or growth servers, and then they become to official normal servers, and that's 100-man houses for now. And for sure, Booming Tech is more aiming to have bigger siege battles, and that's everything Booming Tech or CB is right now standing for. They want to get the biggest medieval fights that are possible. Why should you go down on house members? Makes no sense.
Yeah, but then my other comment then is, are there plans to merge in any other servers into EU1? Because if we keep making more new servers every time, EU1's getting lower and lower population because people are transferring over to these servers. and there's no new players coming into EU1 because they're obviously recommended to new servers. So is there any kind of plans for feeding players back in, either by making EU1 the recommended one season, or by merging some of these other servers back into EU1?
I can just answer with the past, I guess, because in the past always, like, every server was leading into EU1 in the end somewhere or later, looking into the growth of the servers and then just trying to get them back to EU1, because in the end there should be a place where every person is playing together. I think it's the best thing would be a whole map where people have certain access with a level. If they are above level 500 or something like this, then they get kicked out of their region and they need to fight with other people from a higher region or something like this. But this is just my personal opinion, because we don't have any official thing to this that we can share right now.
Yeah, I guess my only concern with that is historically those mergers came way too late and it was already detrimental to EU1 before those mergers happened. But yeah, that's just the only comment I want to make on that.
Got it. If you think EU1 population is too widespread, you need to be careful with what you are asking for inside of Discord and stuff, because Booming Tech could end up with the assumption to lower the region count. So be aware to also write what your solution would be in the end. If you are trying to get something like, oh, we need more people on EU1, then you need to be more explicit of what you are talking, because in the end oftentimes we just push your feedback because it's your feedback and there's no input from our side, because it's important to us that your feedback is heard and not our feedback, and that's very crucial that we just send like one-on-one things from your side and not give any stuff to it, or just so in the end, it really matters what you bring up with solutions and stuff. Yeah, Temple, go again.
I was going to ask if there were plans for, I guess, these calls to be more regular, because one of my concerns is there is a lot of rubbish feedback that I'm concerned thins out that sort of pool a lot and maybe makes you guys not sort of look at it as much, because there's so much useless stuff, in my opinion, that gets posted in there, that then the important ones, because we've had, like Star said, we've had posts that had 100, 200 plus votes that then kind of didn't really get a response or any kind of answer from. And so I'm concerned that the system as it is currently, allowing anyone to post anything they want in that feedback form, can thin that and water that down so much that we don't get actual good feedback across to the devs.
Got it. Yeah. Meetings like this will be like, this is a goal from our side as community managers, at least, to have like this on a normal basis, but we need to look into how efficient it is in the end, because also if we like ask every time inside of Booming Tech and get answers to it, that we need to push for them and we need to get people to answer them officially, and therefore there's a lot of work behind it, even if it's just basic questions, and then we end up maybe with you asking questions, getting answers way too late. And it's like often really hard to make this, but it's like internal problem from our side we are currently really working on.
I guess my follow-up on that is, are there thoughts or plans potentially, because to do another group that's like this, but where, let's say, we're all under signed NDA, where we can have more in-depth discussions on future plans and what's coming up and give that feedback earlier in the life cycle, so that we can have a bigger impact and stop issues like this Warrior Showdown issue happening, where it just wasn't working on the live system, or the concerns we had with it. And so we could get into the life cycle of these changes a lot earlier to have a big earlier impact on it.
An NDA would make no sense in my opinion, because in the end it's gonna leak somewhere and then you can't, like, Chinese firm cannot really legally sue you inside of Europe if you are signing an NDA. So that's like...
Well then let's put it another way, a small trusted group of people that can have a direct impact earlier on in the life cycle of things.
Got it.
Player point of view.
That's the other point. I talked with Mango and Toxic about it before. There's an ambassador program we would like to push, where people have direct interaction with certain developers and can get answers directly from them, basically. So in the end, there would be like a group or stuff where people can join, and then they announce or vote on people representing their side, or like if it's about TW, then it's like people from a certain server representing the server, and then they can ask certain questions and get direct answers from the developing team of the TW side. But this is still something we dream of and want to make, but it's not yet done or through.
Sounds good, thank you.
No problem. Hansaku?
Regarding the TV map,
Yeah.
will there be any new map on Battlefield or?
You mean new maps for TW? So
Yeah.
fighting on. Right now, I don't have any information to this topic. I can ask if they will get something like this. The only new map they could use for something like this would be the Sabaton map and the Thermopylen map, but I don't know if they are willingly want to add them to TW right now.
I think we also have like old maps that are maybe playable in TW.
Yeah, but that needs to be looked in, and I guess. But if you feel like there are some you want to try, or at least get into TW, maybe make just feedback stuff. Let a lot of people vote on it, then post it in War Console, give like a rundown on your opinion there, and then we will push it.
Okay.
Yeah. Then bad guy.
Hello. It's me,
Hello.
Terokus.
Hello.
Oh, Telakos, my love, how you doing?
It's still same in Middle East, bro.
Oh.
Nothing changed.
Oh.
I want to talk for Turkish community for one situation. You know, it's not your job. It's not about us. It's not about you. It's government system. But for regional price, I know the system have a lot of abuse. People can change, the authors can change, the regions can use VPN and abuse the system. But for now, if I want to buy 12k with $100, I need to give my monthly house rent for my sovereign because of inflation. I know this situation is cliche because we want this every time, but we don't get anything. Just I want to say, if he wants to take sovereigns, we want to go work 3 weeks in normal prices because of inflation.
Yes.
But if we get special offer like 3 months ago,
Yeah.
people's abuse the system. I can explain. If anyone change the Steam market region, they can use lower prices.
Yes.
Like us.
They are fully aware of this, and this
Yes,
is
if they use VPN, the Poros client can use this and abuse the system.
Yes.
I don't know how can we fix this, but the Turkish community needs the special offer again.
yeah, that's something on our side we need to work on, but it's like really complicated to get like a fix for this, because in the end, the only thing that could end up happening would be verifying your identity inside of the game.
Yeah, I mean, 2 months ago, Spartan said it's in the near future, the special for limited time the offer, when the Poros come, and they can check their the bank account for the company bank account, how much money come from Turkey that month, and then, until that month right now, how many price we earn, and if they will understand, people want to spend money to company and to game. They want to pay money for sovereign, but they can't because it's highest and dollar and inflation, and it's really complicated for our citizen.
I fully understand this. I'm fully aware of the situation. The same thing would be happening in South America, or even inside of APEC.
Also Argentine side, yeah.
Yeah, APEC side has the same thing with India and China and stuff next to each other. There's a lot of difference.
Can easily fix this. In Pelaturu, G2G, like other web sites, have one payment system for Turkey.
Yeah.
They're using GPay.
GPay.
And if you guys add the GPay for payment systems, we need to use Turkish number, we need to use Turkish bank card,
And identity card.
and identity. If you
Got it.
don't give this three-way, we can't buy anything. If you
Yeah.
guys add this G2 Pay system in website and just open for G2 Pay the special offer and can be fixed.
Yeah. It's easy fix.
Got it.
Bec-
Yeah, just implement the
because you know,
payment.
I can say directly, in Platoru, in G2G, in Kinguin, we don't have PayPal. It's illegal.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't have
banned in
Revolut.
Turkey.
We don't have anything for payment systems for Europe and USA. But they just adding G2 Pay for us, and we using G2 Pay.
And no one can't use.
Yeah.
Only Turk.
Need to use Turkish telephone number, Turkish identity
Yeah.
card, and Turkish bank card.
Yes, exactly. A company can see the half of the community too much. There is too much Turk, actually. Too much Turk everywhere. So this can't be ignored probably.
And I can say one more thing for population
Yeah.
and the servers and the Turkish community. We start this game as a Turkish community, maybe 4K, 5K people same time because of streamer tournament. The Jahrein times.
Yeah.
The My Games make a lot of promo, the famous streamers, and they make streamers tournament, and we see the streams and YouTube videos, maybe 5K or 6K play it together and start this game. If Poros make again this with permissions, maybe we can take more Turks.
Yeah. Collaboration with Turkish streamers or Europe streamers, but the per country, I mean, the company can earn players easily again.
Like this, things other games.
Okay, guys, I know you're passionate, but I would like to move on a little bit more. I got your point, but need to give other people also the opportunity to talk.
Okay.
But you can write me down a DM if you want to. Just write down.
No, we say it and probably it's understandable.
It's for sure understandable.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
point, I fully understand your problem with this.
Okay, thank you.
No, don't need to thank me. Thank you for your feedback. Starburst?
Milo.
I think before the monologue about the sovereigns, we were talking about like new maps and stuff for T-War, and I was just going to mention that adding Allenberg, for example, into the T-War map, like during the postseason, could be a good start. Testing maps there. Does Allenberg actually work during the post-season of the season? And then you could try maps and see if they work and if they can be a permanent implementation to T-War when the actual next season begins. Just to loop back on the topic before, that could be a start.
Good point.
Yeah, also regarding the map, some really old one needs some little changes. Like, for example, Ogolia is really old map.
That's also a point in coming to with map updates and stuff. That's something we pushed a lot, or I pushed a lot inside of Booming Tech, because like I think missing the name here, but I don't remember the name. But he posted like the capital problem, like very detailed, and just made 1 point and 1 feedback in the last month, and it's just about this, and that's like really on point. What was the problem there? And that's something I pushed a lot inside of Booming Tech, because like in the end, people playing for capitals and playing for main capital, and can't be that the end game is so unfair, where you like have defender-sided maps that can't be really broken, and even players avoiding the map for seasons now. So push that a lot, and so they come up, but we will come to this map update thing later. Okay. Something else for TW that comes up to your mind and you want to ask? Maybe just think about a question you want to ask them about TW that is currently in your mind that you want an answer on. Can be a little bit pushy, no problem.
I think for now this is a good start. Like,
Got it. Okay, I will move on to Divine Crow. Hot topic also. Are you planning on removing the crow? And if no, why? They don't want to remove the crow for right now. Siege equipment has always been one of the core battlefield combat experience, and different equipment also represents the characterism of cold weapon combat in different civilization and areas. This is also the cultural content we hope the game can carry. It's basically an answer from their side to this.
Are they are they willing to rework it or tune it down? Like, don't say just removing it, but let's say lowering the damage numbers, because I think everyone here can agree that crows are just too strong.
I already made this my next question. I asked them, what is the future of this and how are you planning on adjusting it? And if we hope that there will be a non-corpse way to break through the enemy's formation or carry out effective defense and on the battlefield, which in line with the characterism of its civilized era. Currently, there are no outliers in the equipment data, so there are no plans to adjust the Shenzhou Faija, so the Divine Crow, that's the Chinese name for it, in the near future. If there are significant changes in the future, we will make targeted adjustments in advance. So I will push this again with
just
nerfs.
Nerf.
Just to confirm, they're saying that they
Imagine.
see no issues in this arty. They're saying that the numbers say that this is a fine and balanced arty.
They're saying they don't have sufficient. They say they can.
So what numbers do they need? Do we need to make videos about how many crows we set up in TW? How many crows there be on the field battles?
That could end up in the wrong answer from their side, in my opinion. If you're just showing them how much you use it, no? The assumption would be, okay, they're using it, and they also maybe, they're trying for it. So
there have been multiple feedback posts about everyone complaining about the crow from every server, including the Chinese side as well, complaining about it, and they're saying that there's no problems with it.
For me, it feels like we're screaming no more crows, and all you hear is more crows. Because you're giving them away, like, for free.
That's the next question I asked them. Can we stop giving away the entire community free Divine Crows? Yeah, and they always discussed and planned the specific delivery methods in our planning and operation. So next time we will talk with them about it, and they will ask us if it's good or not.
I think biggest flaw was they didn't play test it before they add the artillery. I would love to see new artillery in future, but they will need to really balance it before they add it into the game.
It's game changer.
Yeah.
It's game changer, and you can buy it in market. So, you know, if you are poor or your house and alias poor, you know, you don't have money, you can't do anything. They will directly destroy you.
Got it. Like, Starburst?
I also think crows are very powerful, but I also think that crows sometimes the only artillery that can stop a significant push. And before it was the bombard, and I think it's kind of crazy you compare Divine Crow to a bombard, and bombard's supposed to be like the most powerful artillery in the game, and then you can build a crow the same speed as a Hawacha. Flaming Comet, sorry.
The build speed is the biggest issue for me, because in TW, all I say to my raid at the moment is just build a crow as the enemy's pushing, and you'll win. And you do that because they can't stop you, because it takes you literally like a second or two to build it.
It's definitely not the only issue.
I think that's like, if Divine Crow must be the way it is currently, and Booming Tech thinks so, I think that the first step in adjusting the crow is to do something about the build time. Either making it the same speed, I don't know the speeds by heart, but like either make it as a grape shot, maybe as a mortar, even, because the only way to stop a crow currently is to jump on top of the builder and to smack him in the head with your hammer. And if you don't do that, the crow's going to be built and then shoot once, and then that slows down the entire push. So I think build time is something you should tackle first and then go from there.
Got it. Some other solution ideas, despite just nerfing it? I don't know. I think we don't need to talk about the impact on ranked and stuff. That's common sense. And everybody
The main thing for me
agree on
is
it.
the fast build time and the fact that you can buy them just makes it just too broken.
Got it. So I will move on to map updates, like something really discussed and asked in the community also. What is the time frame and when we can expect you to update, rework the capital map so that it is more balanced? Currently, an overall evaluation is being conducted in conjunction with seasonal development content, and it's expected to be updated and launched as early as the beginning of next season. So yeah, they are on it. If you have like, if you want to make like a file, we can make a post with a thread in it where we can like write down every bug we encountered inside of TWs and TW maps, so they don't miss it in the end. That would be something that we can provide as a community for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's less about bugs and just the way the maps are designed. You know, a lot of these capital maps were designed back in season 1 when the game was in a very different state, and they've been very, well, most of them impossible to take since that start. Anyway, if you're looking at the likes of Orgolia and Anliang, for example.
Yeah, that's basically what I meant, but use the term bug, which is misleading. Yes. But
yeah, happy to do that. I mean, people have made posts in the past about it, but we can definitely do a thread.
Just to sum up, so it's a new topic again, because them working on it actively, and we can push it again inside with new informations maybe, or not even new, but also old informations, just pushing it again. What cities will you rework first, and what can we expect? Rework, adjustments to spawn points, with some dots behind it, like giving them room to explain. Priority will be given to troubleshooting the problems of some map functions, failures mentioned in the feedback, shield of the King City, and then adjusting will be made to the maps with concentrated balance feedback in order. City of Heroes, Anliang, and Orgolia are the cities they are most likely to focus on.
Oh, what was the first one you said? Something, then Anliang and Orgolia. What was
The city of the
Shield of King City, so that's Conquerors City forts. The gates of Conquerors City.
Gates,
Yeah.
I think
Then
there's
City of
So
Heroes
there's
is
a priority
Conquerors
given to the
City.
gates, Conquerors City, Anliang, and Orgolia, right?
Yeah.
That does also concern me, because then it makes me think they'll do another Conquerors City main cap season if they then rework the maps, but that's another issue altogether.
No, that's basically worked around by us voting not for it. Because, or you voting not for it in the end. Because you can vote for next season capital, and then if they now commit on releasing stuff or working on it to the beginning of next season, they should have something done to it in the end of the next season, I guess.
So you're saying our vote will be the deciding factor?
Again?
The vote we do for the capital will be the deciding factor. For 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I pushed it inside now twice, that they all agree, and I got them.
Finally.
You are deciding which capital will be next season. Because if they don't follow up with changes, they need to at least hear on what makes the most sense for you. Yeah, Temple?
I was going to say that for me, a vote's not really necessary. It's nice, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with getting one. But all they need to do is just look at the data of the past seasons and see that we played Conquerors City like 5 times in a row, and just use the data that they have and say, okay, well, we've got all of these capitals, we've done these ones as main caps the most amount of times, which should we do as new? That just seems like a very basic thing to me, rather than doing votes. Vote is fantastic, don't get me wrong, I'm glad we're having it, but just use the data that you've got.
Yeah, I totally can understand that they could come up with this conclusion by themselves. I totally agree.
Sorry. Broderida.
Yeah?
If crowded alliances choose Orgolia every season for easy win,
Yeah.
what we can do?
Yeah. That's
you
true.
mean again, we will not
For-
vote every season on which
Okay.
capital will just for next season we will vote on it, and it will not be Conqueror City. I guess people voting for Conqueror City would be insane, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think just on that topic, because there was one suggestion as well to maybe separate main capital and side capital. So main cap, prestige stays in main cap, and side cap has nothing to do with main cap.
Yeah, I already saw that.
Because I think that would just let, like for example, my alliance this season, we wanted to go side cap to have that as a stepping stone to maybe go main cap in future, and I think that's where side cap should be. But I totally understand the impact a side capital can have on a Conqueror City season, where like that 3k can be very valuable. Like I understand that mechanic, it makes sense, but there needs to be a higher population of players before that can happen again.
Got it. I often will just got it because it's feedback, and if don't tell you my opinion to it. So it's just for me to write it down. Or
You should have a request to join from Marek.
Yes.
He's one of the leaders of the alliance.
is he in the war console currently?
Yes.
Name
Juju.
was? Got it. Becky?
Hello again. I want to say we need to improve the servers for fight against other regions, because when we go the Russian city, the Russian raid against Russian raid, we getting ping, we getting lag, we getting server crash. And
Yeah, that was something I already
Three
talked
times.
about in the past. We had like a lot of problems on site with our servers with attacks of DDoSing, and we are currently trying to make.
no, I'm not talking about DDoS or the attacks.
Okay.
Just lag. I have
Lag. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
I have 70 ping outside the main queue, but if I attack main queue and the defender is Russian, I play all TV 200 ping.
Yeah, it's really hard to work around such things like ping, because this is something the online community all over the globe has to
Yeah,
face.
it's not only the Russians.
Yeah.
Then for me as a German, if I play against Turks, it's also like laggy. They lag a lot.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's also like if they cannot even from Europe or American players had lags.
So the
So,
thing is, most likely that having better ping for you would mean, or better opponents that have the same ping would mean you have to play against people from the same region as you, and therefore we would need way more players to get people on a certain server just from one region, and that's currently not the base we have in Europe. Like,
That's why we have
It's-
servers, don't we?
again.
That's why we have servers, don't we?
Yeah, but that's like in every game, it's the same. If they have different locations and there's not sufficient servers to cover them all, it's like normally the case in every game. League of Legends is like a little bit bigger than Conquerors Blade, as you can imagine, and therefore they have better or more servers for certain player base and regions, and therefore the ping is better for you overall. But in the end, maybe there's like, I think Star Citizen is working with server meshing. I don't know if you know server meshing, but it's basically people being on different servers while things happening are made by one server and then smoothly going over to another server. Really great technology. You can watch a video about it. It's really great, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I
and-
think that will not help us in our state.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know, I came late, but I want to ask. The Poros don't have things about merge server, right? Because of population and other things.
There's like a current thing. We always like have certain cycles we are following where servers merge on another server, and then we look into the numbers and what would make the most sense. But right now I can't talk about which servers will merge and what will happen in the future, because it's under closed information basically. But I also told them we need to step up our game on informating the player base what will happen to their servers in the future, like sharing better plans, because the last thing you saw was like gamertag in front of a server thingy that is not actually the true. So like in Cologne we had like a whole chart showing what will happen to the servers in the future, but in the end it's not working out like this, and we need to set something up like this again, and also inform servers on who will merge with who in the off season, not just like 1 week or a couple of days before the new season is starting.
Okay,
That's on us.
thanks.
And also like transfer, if you can transfer to server or not, it will be really cool if you inform us in advance. Because
Yeah.
I get a lot of times the question, can I transform from, I think, EU4 to EU1 next season or not?
Yeah, that's like basic clear communication that needs to be done by Dooming Tech, because we end up with more work by not giving this information or sharing this information, because we get messaged a lot too, and then we have to answer it also, and that makes no sense to just share like a insight on this, because in the end there's no point of hiding this information.
Okay.
Is there any topic about matchmaking or future today?
Matchmaking right now is really hard for most of the players. If you're hitting level 100, you have to face veterans, but that's like basically based on low players overall, so will not be changed that hard. It's like really hard to let them fight for ages against bots, because then they're not actively learning, but also they don't have the sufficient units to fight against veterans, and so it's like a really hard trade-off Booming Tech is always needs to make on deciding who has to face who in the end. And like with veterans playing against new players, everybody can agree that's not helping both sides in the current system for normal sieges or even rankeds, because both sides I feel like they're not playing a lovely game in the end. Tempe?
Just to touch on that, I was going to say it would be good with rank to do some. I know they've added the thing that you have to have a certain number of leadership. Maybe it's a certain number of units unlocked instead, could be an option. But also, could we not just add an option where it's like, hey, you've hit level 100, you can fight real players now if you tick this box. If you don't, you'll keep fighting in bot games. It gives people that choice then if they need to stay in those lower levels and still try and unlock units before they go up into the big leagues, so to speak.
Got it.
Could be an option.
Okay, so that would be it from our side, right? Okay, Starburst?
I was just going to ask this.
Got it. That would be it from our side right now. Would we prepared on questions? If you have questions to some topics of this, or generally big questions you would like to ask, you can go on now. I will just... Temple?
Yeah, I'm just going to ask Roger's question because he sent it to me because he couldn't speak. So his question is around, as I'm sure you've seen, there was a video from Coffee today and the rumors going around the community of the Western NA staff losing their jobs. And we were wondering if you could make any comments on these rumors.
Let me talk this later, okay? I will share you with this information later.
So we will end our comms with this, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
No problem. Starburst?
So, as a house leader, you have to convince your players to continue to play Conquerors Blade, so you can continue having healthy TW numbers and making sure people come to war and so forth. Because obviously people have lives, and they are more than welcome to have lives, but we also need people to enjoy playing the game, so you can stay as a healthy community and play together, right? And I think, so I attended Köln, and they announced a roadmap there, and I think the roadmap was really good, because then I could show that to the players and be like, okay, this is what's coming. there's still hope about the game and the future of the game and so forth. Like, they have plans. And as far as I know, there is a plan still to post a roadmap for 2025, or at least the first half of 2025. But there has been no more comments on the roadmap apart from it being made.